What's going on, folks? We're back at it. I believe it's the third episode. I've already lost count. It's cool. Welcome to Break Out of the Unhinged, where you have two coaches that is talking about all things pop culture, astrology, hypnosis, NLP, all things, the intersectionalities of it all. Um, I'm your host, James Tates, your transformation and mindset coach, and I am co-hosted by.
Eva Morales, and I am here. This is going to be such a good episode. James and I were talking about my birth chart in terms of like relationships. And I was almost going to like cry and tear up a little bit, because everything he was saying was so on point. Like, yeah, he needs to read your chart, guys. He needs to do that. Anyways, James is going to be reading his chart, and then he's going to be reading my chart, and we're going to be learning about like astrology and all of that. So with me, I feel like today is going to be more observing, and then you guys will see like my facial expressions with doing all of this, because it's kind of surreal, like everything that comes out of getting a birth chart reading. So yeah, you guys are in for a treat. Go ahead.
Exposure. So
Yeah.
yeah, so a little bit about this before I just jump right into it. The birth chart. Real quick story about how I came into astrology and how I came into the birth chart, right? So as you guys know, I'm pretty sure you guys heard my story. For friends and family, y'all may have heard it, but if you haven't, check out episode 1 of Vibes of the Collective. The podcast just came out. Shameless plug. But in a serious note, how I came about it, for those who don't know, there was a point in time to where I almost let myself go. Um, in that time when I started my journey of healing, I was on YouTube, and I don't know where curiosity or where my subconscious took me, but it took me to, you know, hey, Sun in Sagittarius. And for those who don't know, yes, I'm a Sagittarius, and my co-host is a Gemini. I'm gonna just let that be known off rip. But I took time to actually like really practice solitude, and during that time of solitude and just really being, and to those that read in the tarot cards, hermit mode, um those alone moments that I had, I just found myself watching YouTube and really diving into my own chart. And once I got into it, that's when it was like everything started to like open up. um I spent time like downloading apps, trying to figure out like more in depth of who I am, what it is that I need to heal. And, it's a big commonality. A lot of times we sit here and say, I'm proud to be a Sagittarius. I'm proud to be a Cancer. I'm proud to be this, that, and the third. When in reality, when you look at the birth chart, all those placements that, that you have, those are positions of healing. So, like, you have your for most, you have your big three, right? You have your sun, moon, and your rising, right? And then for those that are more deep into it, you have your big six, right? That is sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, and your Mars. Those are your personal placements. All of those give you like a culmination of who you are at the core, per se, how you come into this world, and to some cases what you're intended to do. And gives you a deeper sense of the whys, right? So what we're going to do in this episode today, this gives you guys an insight of, you know, what it is I know from the place of the birth chart, certain placements, and I'll try to do a breakdown just for the sake of time, around it. So starting with me, I'm a Sagittarius sun. So big, quick, just right off top, Sagittarius sun, and that's being followed by Leo rising, and I'm also a Taurus rising. Crazy mix. When you think about the sun and the moon, that talks about how your, for example, your son, it talks about how your dad was. some of the dad related issues, some of your dad's strengths. The moon talks about, how your mom was, some of your mom's strengths, some of your mommy wounds, your rising. That's like your roadmap. It's like your lens to how you approach the world, right? And that's also depending on and permitting that planet based upon your sign. That's your chart ruler. It sets the stage for your 12 houses. That we'll get into. I just want to make sure this is like more digestible in terms of like the personal planets, the big six, that is, right? So for me, I'm a Sagittarius sun. So Sagittarius, right? Or backtrack a little bit about the sun. We talked about the dad issues, how your dad was, and all of that. But the sun, that's like the sign that we all know and love, right? Like I'm a Sag, Eva's a Gemini, this person's a Cancer, that person's a Scorpio. Boom, 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 boom. All things, right? But when we look at that in terms of my chart, my sign is a Sagittarius. Shouts out to the Sag gang. Sagittarius, the ninth sign in the zodiac chart. When you think about a Sagittarius, yes, we get the rap for, being flighty. Um, we're not the ones that really tend to fill out our feelings. However, the juxtaposition or the duality to that is that we're very philosophical, we're very knowledgeable, and to some people they look at us as teachers, right? We make excellent teachers. Saturn, or not Saturn, Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter, the planet of luck, abundance, all things. And I'm pretty sure for those that have heard about Sagittarius, that's in the astrology or the world of woo woo or spiritualism, when you have a Sag around you, you are very lucky. Or if you are a Sag, you are lucky by default. It's like we're the cat with 9 lives, right? Now, when you combine that with the sun, that talks about our ego. So with me, I'm very positive, uplifting, traditional fire sign type deal. All fire, like fire sign things, right? Hashtag fire sign things. So what that means for me as a Sagittarius is all of those things, as such that to what I've mentioned. However, when it's in the sun, that's more external. The sun talks about your external side of the house, whereas the moon, which I'm about to transition into, the moon is more internal. Those are your internal desires. Your moon is expressed around close friends, family, lovers, business partners, whoever is close into your circle, right? And my moon is in Leo. Leos can get the rap for being a tad bit loud, egotistical. They like having their ego strokes. However, when you talk about the moon, internal desires, right? Let's put it like this. Say, for example, you got a Leo sun. You could be more you could be portrayed as more egotistical. You could be portrayed as more loud, more outwardly optimistic. They're the sign that shines. They're very giving. There's a lot of good in Leos, right? A lot of good. And I stand on that. All 10 toes strong. Leos can be very giving. They're very, optimistic. They're about the spotlight. They're labeled as the performers of the zodiac, right? From that standpoint. They're here to be seen and heard. When it's in the moon, it's more internal. When it's in the moon, from a Leo standpoint, we're very self-assured, we're very confident. We're very, it's like I tell Ever this, and when we joke around, it's like we have like a silent arrogance to ourselves. It's like if somebody tells me that I can't do it, I just let them talk. And I just sit there, bet. Let me show you some. And then we go from there. But when it comes to the, how my mother was, and I always ask people when I read their birth charts, like, hey, what was your relationship like with your mother or your father when I read their charts? And for me, my mom is an alpha. She's a Leo sun. Both of my parents are Leos. So I was brought up in a Leo household. And when it comes to my mother, very, very prideful, very loud. She's so optimistic, very positive. And, yes, she can be, it can, like she can be perceived as a bit bossy in a sense like that. But the way I look at it is like she likes what she likes, she wants what she wants. And when it comes to Leos, when you tell them that they can't do something, they see it, they want it, and they obtain it. So that's just me from an eternal standpoint, and plus we want to be appreciated, we want to be respected. When people look at Leos, they look at Leos from the standpoint of leadership, right? And that's safe to say it's all fire signs. All fire signs are here to do is to lead and inspire and create. Moving forward into the infamous rising sign, or to what some may call as the ascendant. I am a Taurus ascendant. Yeah. How do you have all of this fire and then it's tempered by by a bull? Yeah, crazy, right? All of that. My chart ruler is by the planet Venus, right? All things beautiful, aesthetics. And when you think about from the place of Taurus, my lens is through just enjoying life. Now, for those who don't know, fun fact: Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac chart, and with Taurus being the second sign of the zodiac chart, they're the only receptive sign. Yeah, they're the only sign to receive. Everybody else, we got to do a little bit of work. However, as positive as it may sound, the duality with, Taurus being the most receptive sign, they have to learn how to receive. Taurus is an earth sign. Earth signs are excellent, excellent manifestors. They're amazing at working hard. When they have their sights set on something, they work, they grind, they create stability, they break infrastructures down to rebuild. And when you think about that with Taurus, think of it like this. I don't know if my age is about to show on this, but if you've seen Austin Powers 2, there's a character named Fat Bastard. And with Fat Bastard, looking at him is like he's like a big guy, like just sitting in a pool of gold, like nothing but abundance. He's eating this big brontosaurus leg of a chicken wing, and he's just there. Or another friendly example, a more friendly example, is like when you think of a cow. And it's crazy how I'm saying this because cows, they have like the nose piercing, and I have a nose piercing. Crazy, right? But cows, they sit there in their peace and they just eat grass all day. Tauruses, they can have a knack for being lazy. I look at it like this: Tauruses are like that because they protect their peace, they protect their energy. Because this is the thing: once they get started on something, and it's more of a slow burn, I will acknowledge that. But once they get going, it's 1,010%. It's 1,010% to what it is that they have their eyes set on, right? It's like somebody chasing a carrot. And with a Taurus rising, yes, you do carry some of those traits to where I wouldn't say Tauruses are stubborn. I don't think that. I think they're more so headstrong in terms of what it is that they want and or believe. So when you combine those three signs, it is a makeup of who you are, how you present the world, your roadmap to destiny, who you are internally, emotionally, right? And that's where like all these little traits and placements come into play. So a little bit about that. You have the big six. This is where it gets a tad bit deeper. We're talking now at this point, we're talking about intellect, how you process your thoughts, your Venus, how like how do you attract money? How do you like what are the things that you find attractive in a lover, potential lover? You have your Mars, your how do you express, your frustrations, planet of aggression. How do you approach things in your day to day? Um, got Mercury, Venus, Mars. Yeah, I talked about Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna just create this as a double whammy for the Mercury and Venus. My Mercury and my Venus is both in Scorpio. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what is it called? His signature. He's like like that. See, I can't do the little voice like,
Yeah.
but he
What's
can.
that thing? They do the little hair flip. Yeah. So, a little bit about the Mercury, right? Touching on that. Mercury, that's how you process your thoughts. How do you communicate? When you think about Mercury, yes, to a degree, you think about Gemini and Virgo, all the things. However, when Mercury is in Scorpio, it is very deep. It's a lot of depth. Mercury and Scorpio, for those who have Mercury and Scorpio that know it, natural lie detectors. Ha. So we see past a lot of foolery and we can read people very well. When something's off, we're very intuitive. Some people that's in the astrology world, they view people with Mercury and Scorpio as potential psychics. When you think about Mercury in a water sign, and I'm gonna get back to the Scorpio piece in a second, but when you have Mercury in a water sign, you carry a lot of intuition. You feel things deeply, right? And for Mercury and Scorpio, it creates a lot of depth. We're able to talk about the things that's unseen. A lot of things that we love is from a place of depth. We do not like surface level. So anything that's surface level, I ain't here for it. I want what's underneath. When I clean a house, I don't just clean the top of the rug. I clean what's under the rug. If you catch my drift, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Mercury and Scorpio, it really gets underneath in terms of, hey, you know, we carry a lot of deep perspective. Now we're going to get into like the deeper parts of the chart in a second, but just to give you like a quick basic of it all between me and Eva's charts. Venus and Scorpio. So we talked about Scorpio earlier, depth. Um, if I didn't mention this, intense. Um, we do well with chaos. And it's the sister sign of Taurus. So I'm a big juxtaposition. Yeah. So Venus and Scorpio, we love things that are very deep, very intense. Like we need the constant, like we need somebody that's going to constantly tell us, like from a place of the know. Like you ever had a partner that just didn't talk to you for a few days? We just don't do well with that. We just don't do well with that. To some degree, Scorpios get a knock. Scorpios get a knock for being possessive. We're going to take that word. We're going to move that to the side. We'll get to that part of the conversation down the road in this episode, right? Possessiveness can be defined in so many different ways. You see where my Scorpio Mercury is coming out, where the depth comes in. It can be defined in so many different ways. It can be defined from a place of surface level possession. What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine.
Ah, bueno, okay.
Or it can be defined in other things, right? So it can be defined in things from a place of love. Even if you take it to the bed, it can be expressed. Possessiveness can be expressed in so many different ways, right? With it being in Venus, this is where it gets lovely. At least in my experiences, and I'm speaking for myself because everybody's placements, it can mean something totally different. Because again, this is leading to the roadmap of your journey. And that's why you kind of like notice when me and Eva talk about it, it's like, hey, we're all in a different journey and we're running our race. And for me, when it comes to Venus and Scorpio, it really talks about, the things that we're attracted to from a place of depth. It has to have some type of like substance. We have to be like, it's like from a place of obsession, borderline obsession. Yeah, yeah. It's from that place of obsession. So once we have our eyes or goals set on something from a place of how we can make money, love, it could be somebody that we like. It's on our minds until we get it. And a lot of people don't know Scorpios can manifest extremely well, especially if you have a Scorpio Mars. Cross that bridge for another episode. Now, moving forward, Mars. Yeah, I love this. I love my Mars placement. I love it. It helps offset my Moon in Leo to a degree. My Mars placement is in Aquarius. So, what is Mars in Aquarius? What is this? Well, you know what? Mars, Mars. Just mentioned it earlier, right? Mars talks about how you approach things. That's to keep it simple, right? How do you approach things in your day to day? How do you do things? Does it require a routine? Um, do you have a weird way of approaching things? Um, are you having issues accepting how different you are? Right? So a Mars and well, let me get to the Aquarius piece. Aquarius, air sign, air energy. When you think about air signs, they're about the mental, they're about communication, they're about community, all the things. With Mars in Aquarius, I have a weird way of approaching things. And it's not like if I could put out a simple definition, we're natural rebels. We go against the grain. We walk to the beat of our own drum. And we do things differently. Aquarius and Leos, both are sister signs to each other. They are to what I consider show me signs. Mm-hmm. When you think about Leos, again, they're the performers and they do things from a place of look at me, look what I'm doing, look at what I'm creating. Don't it look amazing? Don't it look beautiful? Praise me, praise me, praise me. Stroke my ego, right? On the worldly things. But when you think about Aquarius, it's the opposite. Yes, it is a show me sign, but it is from the place of eccentricity. We do weird stuff and people don't understand it and it just works. It's like we're like the mad genius. And with Mars and Aquarius, for me, I know I am a societal rebel. I do not follow societal norms. Hence why we're here. Yeah. So when you think about Mars and Aquarius per se, right? For me, again, societal rebel. Think of it like this. Somebody gave me this example when I was watching it on YouTube, and it was like very profound. Think of running a race. You're being entered into a contest of running a race. Within this race, you have like 5 or 6 hurdles. You got the little stick, the little pogo stick thing that you pass off to your teammate. If I'm entering that race, the rest of the people that's running, they got to do that. But if you were asking me to run that race, I'm changing some rules. Well, if I'm changing the rules, I'm taking all that stuff out. I'm getting a 5 second head start. Unfortunately.
This is James for you guys.
Yeah. So we're very smart in our ways of doing things, and we're okay if people don't understand it. And with that, with Mars and Aquarius, we also have the ability of foresight. Well, what is foresight, James? Well, answer foresight. You are able to see ahead. We have a very progressive way of approaching things and doing things. So progressive to where society doesn't understand it. And to some that may get it, it's cutting edge, right? So when you think about all the things, that's where that really helps at, right? So key placements or aspects that I have. One of the biggest aspects that I do have, and this is something I've been studying within myself, because the beautiful thing about being a Sag is, yes, we know some stuff, but at the same token, we're always a student of life. We're always studying about something, always digging for higher truth and knowledge. But when you think about that, like one of my key placements in my aspects from my big six is I have Pluto square the moon. Pluto, real quick. Pluto talks about is the planet of transformation. It is ruled by Scorpio to a degree. Pluto talks about transformation, and that's what Scorpios are known for. When you think about Pluto, you're thinking about your entire world being broken down. It's not an idea if the tables are turning. It's just a matter of when that some bitch is gonna flip over, right? And for me, when it's in my moon in Leo, again, Leos get a knock for being very bossy, very domineering. And I'm mentioning these negative knocks. It's not from a place to like really bring a sign down, because this is the thing. We all have lessons to learn. That's the reality, right? We all got lessons to learn. We all got a race to run to some degree, except I'm getting my 10-second head start. I bring that back to this conversation. However, dot, dot, dot. When you're looking at Pluto square the moon, it talks about over time developing emotional stability, emotional intelligence. How do I take those moments to where I just get pissed off and I start lashing out? How can I grow into being a better person from the place of just being calm? Moments when you get angry, you don't get what you want. Think of it like this. You're an angry customer at a store. You're coming in to return, like, I think one time something happened to me. I tried to return a 50 cent CD. 50 Cent, Please Don't Kill Me. I love your album. It just didn't work that day when I got it. When you try to return, like, again, I tried to return an album and they say, hey, it's outside the return window. All right, cool. I want to talk to your manager. All right, manager comes in. Hey, manager, goofball. I'm trying to make this return. They're not taking it. Well, Mr. Tates, we can't take this because it's like one day outside the return window. And then I just lash out. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, explicit, all the cuss words in the world. Versus somebody who comes in like, hey man, I know I'm one day outside the return window. Is there any way that I can return this? Well, we can't return this. Smack scum, smack scum, smack scum. All that stuff. All right, cool. Is it okay if I could talk to your manager? I would like to try to get this done. Hence, as you could tell, totally different, temperament. Keep calm and keep cool. Hey there, buddy. How can I help you? Well, sir, I'm just trying to return this album, and I know it's one day outside the window. Is there any? It's just not working. When I got it, it was already pre-opened. I tried to give it a shot to see if it worked, and it's just not working. And I had a lot of stuff going on. Is there anything that we can do about it? Manager then provides an exception. Now, when you take these two situations, right? Somebody who's lashing out, being like, for lack of better terms, being a complete dick, versus somebody that's really calm and like stable in their ground, things change. Your outcomes change. Now, we talked about Pluto and the planet of transformation, right? And the biggest thing about that is like when you're talking about transformation, it's growth, it's maturity, hard, to some degree, hard work. Like, I got to call a spade, right? And for that, like, when you think about Pluto squaring, the moon, it really, like, for me, like a personal story from that, it was like, again, like after my suicide attempt and everything just happening as such, I really had to learn to sit with myself and be still. I had, instead of just like running away from those emotions, I had to really face them, deal with them. And through that, I became more understanding of my emotions, to where I became more understanding of myself, which then, in closing, changed my temperament and how I approach everything, how I view everything. And even when I talk to other people who's lashing out and being angry, all the things, right? Through learning emotional stability and emotional intelligence, I can cultivate a better environment to where others can be calm and present in the moment, right? All those beautiful and good things. I made it, with me having this Leo energy, it's like a little bit of dramatics and flair, all that stuff, right? So I think I dragged myself for a good 30 minutes.
I'm
And we
learning.
have one, yeah, we have, You ready?
It's very like insightful, and I feel like a lot of people will get a lot of value out of this because of what it is that may resonate with them. Like with me, you were talking about Taurus, like my dad's a Taurus. And everything that you were saying, I'm like, oh, I can see that in him. I can see how uh, it just all meshes together with what you were saying with the balance of like when they get on it, you know, they go through it with it all the way. So yeah, okay, go ahead. I'm ready.
You see how she likes to jump right to it, right? Like it was like cool at first, and then like boom, 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 just like yeah, I'm ready. No, I'm joking.
Let's go. Let's go. No, I got my tissue ready.
She's already mentally prepared for what's coming. That's crazy. Tissues is crazy. So enough dragging me. And again, I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. Like I'm one of the more honest birth chart readers, and like when we talk about the knocks on it, it's like more of like a comfortable setting, and it's like jokey joke, ha ha ha. But that doesn't mean that every Sagittarius is going to run, or every Taurus is lazy. No, everybody, like every placement there is going to. How do I put it? Every placement on a person has a key trait about that sign. So I like, for me again, being a Sagittarius, I'm more knowledgeable. Or me having a Mercury in Scorpio, my depth my depth stands out. My intensity might not show as much. Um, but it's one of those things to where it's like as you become comfortable, especially in this space of podcasting, as you become comfortable with the audience and all that, you try to put your own spin on things, and you try to be authentic and try to be honest about it, right? And it's not like, again, this is not to roast every sign. I think that with every sign, there's so much to love. Virgos, you included. Save that conversation for another day. But in terms of the beautiful Eva here, amazing soul. Again, I hype her up a lot because of what she brings to the table. And then on, it's like I could say endless positive things about her. And getting to know Eva, starting out, big three. You ready? Gemini Sun, Sagittarius Moon, Cancer Rising. Big softy behind that masculine energy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
I
been
know.
doing that all day, so I apologize. I apologize if this annoys y'all, but like it 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 just tickles Eva, so I've been picking with her today about that. However, Gemini Sun, right? So Eva, tell me about your dad. Tell me about your relationship with your dad, if you don't mind.
Well, he recently came into the picture. For like 20 years, he lived in his hurt, and I lived in my hurt, and we didn't speak that much in 20 years.
Okay.
Uh, so I think it was like the first 10 years of my life where he was there, but it wasn't consistent. It was more so like, I don't know. I feel like I don't have that many memories. Like I know he's trying now, and it's beautiful to see somebody who's older who wants to change their life, because I hear people saying like, "Oh, I've always been this way," or I've been doing this for so many years, and it's like my dad is 60, and whatever he was doing with his life was not working. Therefore, now he decided to shift his reality into what it is that he wants. And what it is that he wants is that connection with his daughter and his son. So it's more of, I feel like a life lesson for him is that how how much are you going to be living in your hurt? How much are you going to be living in a reality that doesn't serve you? Because all it is, it's choosing to want something different in your life, choosing to really see that you are worthy of whatever you desire. Like with my dad, I feel like he like would tell the story a lot. I remember when I had gone over to Mexico one time, and he was just talking to me about how much you know, my mom had hurt him, and kind of like making my mom like the bad guy, you know. And I was just like, dude, like my mom was the only one that was there, like physically, mind you, you know, not so much like emotionally or any capacity. I know that she did the best that she could. And with him telling himself the story of my mom being the bad guy, it's like, dude, you're giving your power away. You're like allowing yourself to sit in that. It's like, when are you going to realize? When are you going to wake up and really see that your reality changes when you decide that you want something different? I'm very much of a tough love to both of my parents, you know, because I feel that it's greatly needed to just talk to them. And it's like, I didn't have like a close relationship with him, but now I see that he's trying. Now I see that he, I feel like he wishes he could take the time back. But now we're making the most of it. Him being here, being present, me showing him that I care, him showing me that I care. And no matter how much time passes by, um, parents want to connect with their children. I mean, even if like, let's say they're maybe not so much like emotional, but it's like at some point like you want to connect. I don't know. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So again, when you talk about this, when we talk about the son, we talk about, relationship of the dad, right? So again, like Sagittarius sons, like my dad traveled a lot. He's always like, he wants to live in an RV. I don't know why he wants to do that, but that's a conversation for another day. But to you, Eva, one thing that came to my mind as you were telling me your story, and thank you for sharing that, by the way. I think that was like, it's beautiful. I love how you talked about, you know, the past and now transitioning into the present and what the future may potentially look like, right? And what I got from that was that, you talked about how your dad didn't talk much and how, to a degree, you know, Geminis can gossip a bit. Geminis are known to gossip a tad, just a smidge. But the positive behind Geminis, what I love about Geminis is that Geminis are excellent communicators. Gemini is ruled by the planet of Mercury. When you think about Mercury, planet of intellect, communication, everything, it's like the fastest moving planet. So everything is like fast, 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 fast. The messenger. And when it comes to Eva having her son in Gemini, right? Communicator, sister sign to Sagittarius, woot woot. Um, but you are an excellent communicator. You love to talk. It's what it really comes down to is that you love information. Love information. And yes, Geminis are hella curious. I get hit with this day to day from my co-host. What does that mean? What does that mean? I have to set this table a lot of times, which is fine, and I don't mind it. Somewhat. Somewhat. Mm-hmm. 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 No, but no, seriously, like Geminis are cool. They're great in my books. They are the sister sign of Sagittarius. They are the third sign of this. Yeah, third sign of the zodiac. Mind you, it's 2 a.m. We're just recording, but walk with me. We're here.
Your time, what, 11 my time? Yeah.
Blasphemous. Yes, they are the third sign of the zodiac chart, right? And when you think about the top few zodiac signs, it's like I approach it from like a place of baby energy, teen energy, and elder energy. And when you compare Sagittarius to where we're more of the quote unquote elders, I look at it as like this: we're wisdom, and Geminis are smarts. This is not a knock towards Geminis because I think they offer a lot to everybody else, whereas Sagittarius They offer a lot in their own ways. Conversation for another day. But back on the Eva, in terms of Gemini sun, excellent communicator, very smart, information hungry, right? And the biggest thing about Geminis to where they're known for is their curiosity. They dabble into almost everything.
With you saying that, it reminds me of the time where I signed the contract for my NLP practitioner training, and it said on there, like, one of the things, it's like it may not work. And in my mind, I felt like I was signing, you know how Ariel signs her voice away type of thing. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it was like, you know what, I'm just going to go in, even not saying like even if nothing happens. I was just done. I was tired of like how my life was going, and I was thinking I just need to take action on something different. Like, I tried all these modalities. Let's see what this has to do with it. Like, I read what hypnosis was, being in trance, like all of that. And it's like, I've never done it. Let's try it. Let's do it. I want to be helped with this, and I want to help others with it. So yeah,
You brought
just
up a
took
key
it.
point. You
Mm-hmm.
brought up a really big point. Sagittarius and Geminis, we have a thing to where we try everything at least once. That's crazy. Sad truth. Uh-huh. So, yes, one thing about Geminis, folks, is that Geminis are very versatile. Jack of all trades. I'm not going to say the other half because I'm not trying to knock them. But
It's just ability, adaptability. Like, I know that people have told me that those were like traits, versatility, where it's like you can adapt and you can shift into like whatever your environment is.
when it comes to Gemini Sun, what do you feel is the knock with your sign?
What do you mean, like, the knock?
Like if you was to put a like Sagittarius, they have a rep for just being flighty. We tend to be runners.
I think with me, it was more like a big part of my journey with getting to know my sign. I felt like I rejected my sign because people would talk about how like Geminis are two-faced, and just like I didn't really know, and I just only heard the negative connotation until now. I'm diving more into like astrology and talking to you about it, and then you saying that you know me a little bit more based on my chart, and a lot of what you say is very on point. It's very like, oh yeah, definitely I can see how this plays into my life.
That part, all the good things. So again, Gemini's very adaptable, excellent communicators. They can be a little shifty, just like a Sag, but they're with them being my sister sign, they're very very smart, and they they're very they pick up information fast, and again, that once they pick up information, that's when magic happens, right? So Sagittarius Moon, we talked about the Sagittarius Sun, right? This is where it can get a little fun, a little freaky. So Sagittarius Moon, we talked about the Sun being more external, how you project, and this is where the internal desires come in, right? Sagittarius Moons, Sagittarius Moons. I'm sorry, I'm having a nutty professor moment, but Sagittarius Moons, same traits as traditional Sagittarius Suns, but remember, this is where it gets internal. Sagittariuses can be pretty restless. We can, I'm pretty sure you can relate to that. And what's unique about your, at least just with the first two, what we're talking about, it's like, how do I decipher this? It's hard because they're both somewhat the same. But with Sagittarius Moon internally, they're blocked from experiences. A lot of Sagittarius moons that I've met over time, they became more restless when they became older because they were not able to experience life early on. So as they've gotten older, more experiences came up, right? what was now when it comes to that, like walk me through your relationship with your mom.
My relationship with my mom. Where's my tissue at? No. I think my relationship with my mom is something around the lines of, continuous learning. So like I
Mhm.
feel like for a long time I had resentment towards my mom because of um what she allowed in her life and what she allowed into our life, which meaning like abuse. And like after I moved out when I was 19, um I grew like very resentful. And with the resentment like came like a big like in my chest, like big energy, like a circle of energy around my heart, around like the heart chakra, you know? And I remember like there were times when she had, due to the domestic violence, she had like told the police, and then they removed him from the home. And I remember she would like talk about how much she like missed him or was in love with him, and I was just so angry. Like I remember my sister, she would tell me like one of the most like hard things that like she had witnessed from me. See, I'm over here like getting all emotional and stuff. One of the most painful things that she had witnessed is me like releasing all of the hurt that came from like my mom being the hero for like my siblings, in terms of like removing their dad from the, what is it called, from their life. But part of me was like, man, like you were able to do this for them but you didn't do it for me. And it was just like me being very much in like my victim energy of like, oh, others have this, why didn't you do that for me, type of thing. And when I viewed life in that way, was very damaging to my heart, very damaging to like just my whole like overall well-being, because I just carried all of that like negative energy. And it was just um like our relationship now is strong because I have let go of a lot of things. I like forgave her. I forgave myself for being like angry, like for being resentful, because at the end of the day, like I feel like even the adult children who like cut off their parents, a part of them still wants to communicate with them. But it's like when your parent is in their wounded inner child energy and they just I guess like project whatever was done to them, that's when it's like you're realizing that you need to break these generational patterns. Because it's like, yeah, you may distance yourself, you may like cut them off or whatever, but at the end of the day, your DNA still carries their traits. Because you may be like, why are my kids the way they are? I'm trying to help them heal, I'm trying to help them do this. It's like, because in their DNA, they carry this. And I know that because I felt it like when I carried it as well, all of the anger and the resentment, and how the discipline was like, oh, to like beat your kids. And it wasn't like about beating kids. It was like what I witnessed was like abuse, and they called it discipline.
Right.
And when I was coming out of what is it called? Um, like the last relationship I was in, I would see people with their kids. And then I don't know why I would like visualize myself like also like hitting my kids. I'm just like, this is why I don't want to have children. Like I didn't do that to my siblings. I kind of like raised them, like the middle ones.
Right.
And it's like, why do I see that in my mind? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I visualizing like hurting my children? Like, this is why I don't want to bring children into this world. This was back then, right? Before I hadn't cleared any of the anger and sadness that I carried. And then once I was able to clear that anger and sadness, I was like, oh, my heart felt so much lighter and I felt so much better. And now I'm like, I won't be passing down any of the trauma. And I'm in a place where I forgave my mom, I forgave my dad. I want to move into like more of that light, you know. And that was the lesson I had to learn. I had to learn to forgive. I had to learn to really let go of those emotions that didn't serve me. Like, yeah, they were there to teach me something, but it didn't serve me to carry it. And I feel like many people carry a lot of things, when just know that you don't have to. You can choose to let it go. And how do you let it go is through feeling it on a really deep level.
I think that was beautifully said. I think what stood out to me was you mentioned continuous learning and the experiences that you've encountered. Yeah, some of it may be bad, surface level, right? But it grew it grew you into a place to where you gained a lot of optimism. I know you talked about, going from not having kids to having kids. This part, folks, this is going to segue into Eva's rising sign, so it'll make more sense. But what I'm getting off of that is that you gained a lot of experience and you do have a great sense of independence as well. You gain, like, it's crazy how people can transmute victimhood into like independence, healthy independence, right? Because it's like you don't want that to happen to you, so you're going to take care of yourself in the ways that you want to be, in the way that you want to, right? And all from what it sounds like, all those experiences happen to where you've gained a lot of knowledge, but you've built a sense of optimism out of it too. Now, that said, we're about to go into the ascendant or the rising sign. And I think this is like, if I was to point out any placement that you have in terms of your big three ever, I really love your rising sign. And it's actually in Cancer. When people think of Cancer, we think of family. What we don't realize too, that Cancers are also very, very deeply emotional. Um, your planet ruler is by the moon. The moon. We're going to talk about the rising signs more in depth in just a tad bit because it does play a role in terms of physical features. So, Cancer moon. So your lens in this life is to your roadmap to your life and your destiny is through emotions and feeling all the things. Yes, the one knock of Cancers is that they can be a bit moody and a bit petty. Petty. However, the beautiful side of Cancer is that, with them being a water sign, and once you sit down with a Cancer to take understanding to them, it's like the way I feel about Cancers is like protect them at all costs because they feel things on such a deep level. And when they feel, they feel like none other. They feel like none other. And they can turn those emotions and what it is that they feel into such beautiful art. And I think that's the beautiful thing with water signs, right? Water signs, in terms of how they communicate, they make such beautiful art in terms of how they express emotions. Um, and in this case, with you, Eva, having a Cancer rising or the other word Cancer ascendant, I don't know why they just won't make it one word, but that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, so Cancer rising, yes, all the things I just mentioned about them, right? Your lenses through your emotions and really feeling things out. And going back to the Sagittarius Moon piece in terms of how you gain those experiences, I really loved how you talked, how you practically intertwined the Cancer Moon and that Sagittarius Moon, excuse me, Cancer rising and Sagittarius Moon into one story. And I thought that was like extremely beautiful to mention that, and how you've transmuted experiences to where it became like, or transmuted the bad moments to where you made it become a part of you from a place of experiences. That says a lot about where you are in your journey, the progress that you've made. I feel like experiences do create progress. And I loved how you was able to say it in such an eloquent manner from a place of like all the stuff that you had to essentially deal with and see, to now it's like, all right, all of this happened, but this is what I'm going to do about it. This is how I'm going to make, like you even touched on it with early on as well, even with the Gemini part, right? In terms of, yeah, y'all very adaptable and so on and so forth, but you talked about your dad. And and with you being a Cancer rising, it's like, I don't know if you noticed this, but it's like through all the lessons that you're learning, that you've learned and you're going to continue to learn, it's like you're just rebuilding this family. For those that don't know, Cancer is a cardinal sign. You have certain modalities, right? We're going to get into Eva's other three in a second. You have cardinal, those are your initiators. You have fixed. Yes, they're the stubborn ones. They got their heels dug in deep, all the good stuff. Yeah, all that. And then you have your mutable signs. Mutable signs are those that adapt, they flow, right? I was having a Bruce Lee moment in my head. Flow like water, all that stuff, right? And with all of the experiences and emotions that you have encountered, that you have felt, it's like emotions are an experience for you. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And you've adapted. And I
Yeah,
think
I feel
that's,
just having my hand over my heart, because I feel like with everything that you're saying, it's like I feel it in a deep level. Like my heart feels hurt from everything that you're like saying. So thank you.
no, you're welcome. Like this is the work that you've been doing. This is a testament of the work that you've been doing, right? And you know, we've had our personal conversations, but if I may bring up this one thing or one observation per se, I guess we'll do that, right? All of the experiences that you've had thus far, it is opening you up to like rebuilding family, rebuilding your sense of home. What does that look like? Not just with from your relationship between you and your parents, but with your siblings. What does that relationship look like from you to siblings, from siblings down to parents, from mom to dad, right? And I think that like when you look at your when you look at your birth chart, it kind of gives you like a snapshot. Like the deeper you dive into your chart, it kind of gives you like inklings. I'm not going to say it's going to give you the answers per se. Yeah. But it's going to give you little inklings of what's to come, what to prepare for. But not only that, behind those inklings is giving you an opportunity to heal. It's giving you an opportunity to take action. It's giving you an opportunity to initiate, create that, start that project, start that podcast, whatever it is that's set forth, right?
To shift your
Um,
perspective too.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, you what I like about the rest of your chart is your internal placements, the other three. So you have a Mercury in Cancer. So not only you feel things out, but from the place of the mind, your intellect, you process your emotions a lot. Um, I think that's dope, frankly. Um, Again, when you have a Mercury in a water sign, it's a lot of emotional processing from the place of, okay, I feel this. What do I make of this? How do I understand this? Not only for myself, but those that are affected around me, albeit positive or negative, right? It's like you could be like, all right, you could be having a baby. And yeah, obviously at the surface, it's great to have a child. But the same token, it's like you're really sitting with those emotions from the minute you lay hands on that baby, From the minute to where you look the baby in its eyes, you feel everything on such a deep level. And it's like it's like a tidal wave of those emotions that you're just feeling. And you're easily able to sift through them. And oh man, it's actually really beautiful. It's dope. I think it's phenomenal. And of course, simple terms, mind is about family and home. When you think about Cancer energy, it's the mom, it's giving mommy energy, right? It's giving, think of it like this, right? When you think about Cancer and the sister sign Capricorn, it's like it's mommy and daddy energy. It's obvious. And from the mom standpoint, it's like, what do I need to do to make sure home is good? I was telling somebody one day about the apple pie effect, and old school people used to leave the pie outside, you know, their
to cool down.
window shed, whatever. Now you do that, or you do that near me, I'm taking your pie straight up. I'm running. I like food. That's the Taurus rising in me. I will run off with it. I will eat it.
I feel you. I see you.
Oh, you see me all right. You gonna see me tearing down that pie. Trust. Trust. Let it be peach cobbler. It's gone. Finito. I digress. The apple pie effect, right? When it comes to Cancer placements or Cancer in general. It's like you have the apple pie out on the shed. It's like this, and then you have, dinner made, and then Daddy Capricorn comes in. Is like, "Hello, everybody. I'm home. I just finished a hard day's work." Ah. All the kids run the daddy. Oh my God, daddy, 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 daddy. But like, wife comes in, or mommy Cancer comes in, gives Daddy Cap hug and kiss, but behind all of that, she's making sure the laundry is done, making sure the house is straight, it's good to go. She's the homemaker, right? And for Cancer, it's like really making sure family is good. It's like you have a huge heart when it comes to your family. And Cancer is the crab. When you think about the crab, they get protective of their family.
Oh yeah, I'm very protective of my family. Like I
Called
love
it.
them. I will go to the ends of the world for them. Like they're my babies.
That part.
And my
So
mom and my dad are my babies too. I came to this world to protect them. They're my babies.
when they become kids,
Their inner child. Like parents have an inner child too. That's why for me I feel like with coming into like my dad coming into my life at in May of this year. Oh man, I had to be so patient. Like sometimes I felt like snapping at my dad, but there's a voice inside. The way you treat your dad is how you're going to treat your children.
tone
And
setter.
right? And I'm just like, okay, you gotta be super patient. And then I was also teaching my dad how to like what's it called? Use his phone. So imagine, like my dad, he's 60, and how and I tell him what to do. I don't do anything for him. It's like, you want to learn? Here you go. I will walk you through the steps. That's the teacher in me. I will walk you through the steps, but you have to do it on your own.
You just heard it first. That's that Sag Moon coming out.
Oh, is that the like you gotta do it on your own type of thing?
That's the teacher in you.
Yeah.
Sagittariuses are very philosophical, and they're very huge. Like they have um a knack for teaching. We can be a bit preachy when we start talking about our beliefs and our philosophical things that we take a hold on, right? And sometimes we can get a little pushy in terms of our belief systems on other people. Conversation for another day. But moving pressing forward, right? You have your Venus is in Aries. That's crazy. For one,
Excuse me. Why?
You said the why? Oh, this. Y'all caught it, folks. See, the curious side came out. The Gemini came out of her. Why? What does that mean? Educate me, please. So Venus in Aries is very passionate, and I say the cousin to Aries is Scorpio because both are ruled by Mars, and as I've mentioned before, Scorpio is co-ruled by Pluto and Mars. Right, primary home Mars. Argue with your mammy. Um, if you know, you know. But when you think about Venus and Aries, it's very passionate. Y'all could fall in love fast. Y'all could fall out of love fast. But at the same token, when you think about it, it's love with a purpose. It's love. It's that trailblazer love. It's love with a purpose. When you love somebody, it's like they you love somebody that respects your impulses. They allow you to go explore. Um, they allow you to do all the things. Hell, you might even love a partner that follows your impulses just as much as you do. Right? So that's Aries is very they can be impulsive. They are a cardinal sign. So again, they initiate, action. They initiate their purpose.
I
And
was
when
like,
this
James,
isn't,
the podcast.
so I'm just letting y'all know now. She told on herself. I just want to make sure I'm just clear on this. Okay. Um. You told on yourself. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, moving forward.
Shame. I don't have shame around that. It's
No,
like
I'm just
I
making
know
sure I clear my name. I'm just making sure I clear my name.
is like just talking to people about how their emotions and their birth chart has to do with their life and
Yes.
what needs to happen in order for them to like feel better.
hmm And you're spot on with that. Um, and I love that about your placement. It's crazy because my North Node is in Aries, so I get it. I definitely understand that. North Node, we'll do that in another episode down the road. But what else am I missing? We got your Mars. This is relating to the conversation that we had today.
So what's the Mars?
Hold on, like I had to have the dramatic pause, man. You gotta like. I'm joking. As y'all can tell, her curious side is really peaking at this point, so I gotta hurry up. Um, so folks, as you guys already know, my Mars is in Aquarius, and the sister sign to Aquarius is Leo, and that is where Eva has her Mars. Now, again, when we talked about Mars, we talked about approach, we talked about aggression. Like Mars and Aquarius, we get annoyed. We don't get angry. If you start talking wild, we probably just detach and just sit there, blank stare, like, okay, what is the nearest exit? When you got when you got Mars and Leo, again, they're the spotlight sign. They're the performer. When they express their anger, the spotlight is on them. Everything is cool, but the minute something gets messed up, roar, spotlight. I'm angry. I'm here. However, the Mars also talks about, especially in females, it can talk about the relationship experiences. Shall we? Sip.
Do you want to like save that for like the next episode, the relationship ones? Because I feel like you can go on and to tell me for a minute about that. I mean, I almost cried when I was in the car and we started talking about it briefly. So maybe we can leave it here for the next episode.
Because I was about to go deep. I was about to go in. I just wanted to make sure I got the green light yet again before we talk about this. However, Mars and Leo, just a basic synopsis of it, right? Mars and Leo, what I love about Mars and Leo, let's get to the facts of it first, right? Mars, planet of aggression, yet again, planet of approach, um, ruled by Aries and Scorpio. It's like Mars is like the god of war. How do you strategize a war? How do you approach certain angles and so on and so forth? And when you have Mars and Leo, it's about, all right, what do I need to do to get a hold of that spotlight? Right? What do I need to do to get to be the main attraction? What do I need to do to become, you know, whatever? And on top of that, when you talk about Leos, depending on where your Leo placements are associating with this Mars and Leo, if you have additional Leo placements, my July and August babies, Mars and Leo can actually go, it can go pretty deep in terms of trying to get a hold of the spotlight, trying to be seen. I know for me, having Pluto's square, you know, my moon, I'm afraid of being seen. And I actually read my pattern. For those who don't know, listen, shameless plug to the Pattern app. If you don't have that app, I know there's some astrologers that don't go by it, but I use it. I use it because it's true for me. Okay, God damn it. It talked for me, it's like a fear of being seen. It's a fear of like my own depth and how I display that to the world. Hence why I'm here podcasting. But when it comes to Eva and her Mars of her Mars in Leo, it talks about relationships. Again, this kind of get like again, this is giving complexities, right? In terms of everybody's placements, in terms of how does this placement work for me? What am I healing by having this placement? And so forth. And it can get pretty knee deep. But right now we're at an hour and 11 minutes, 111. And what we're going to do with that, I actually want to dive deeper into that on the next episode in terms of the art of relationships. But this again, this is like giving you like guys like a snapshot. Because again, you still gotta go look at your Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, Jupiter, your Neptune placements, but your personal placements is your big six, your sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. Those are who you are at the core. The others that we'll go over another time will be more generational planets. So the people that you grew up with, the people that you went to school with, you know, how do you gain luck and abundance and expansion with your Jupiter? So we'll go from right here. But I'm intrigued. Yes, me and Eva would like to know your big six. Put it in the comments. If you're listening to this on your podcast platforms for the audio version, you know, check out the YouTube video. Jot it down. Let us know what you think. And lastly, I would encourage you to download the Pattern app. What I do love is how it gives you like a snapshot of life. Not even life and what your life is going to look like, but more in depth. What is your lens? How do you navigate certain things? Um, it can get deep. It can get deep. It talks to you about relationship bonds, albeit whether if it's a friendship, whether if you need to run for the hills in a Sagittarius fashion, or if they're potentially your soulmate. Now, disclaimer, that is between you and that person, and if y'all did y'all healing work or if you both are healing together. Okay. So, with that said, we're going to sign off for the night. Y'all chose anywhere. Y'all could have been anywhere, but y'all chose to be here with us. And, for that, me and Eva, we thank you for spending time with Breakout the Unhinged. Continue running your race. Be unhinged when need to be. That's it.
And
Go
thank
ahead.
you so much. I'm like, thank you so much for being here. We're super grateful for your presence. And I'm sure you've got value from this as well. And just let us know. Let us know what you found helpful. Let us know what it is that you'd like to see more of. Let us know what your sign is. Because for me, I don't know what the big six is. The only thing I know is like about my birthday. And now I'm learning more stuff with you. But yeah, Let us know. Let us know what your sign is and what you'd like to learn about it. Maybe James on his page can start educating us more about it. I would love to see that. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
no problem. Be safe, y'all. Y'all have a great night. Good day.